Oi! Yes! Dude, we're almost done with the content for the week. This is the last Balls Deep breakdown of the week with me, your host, Uncle Weezy. Today we are going to be talking about the UFC Vegas 43 matchup between Pat Sabatini and Tucker Lutz. A couple of good young prospects here. This will be Sabatini's third fight in the UFC, and this will be Tucker Lutz's. He had 2 Contender Series fights and 1 UFC fight, so this will be his 4th UFC level fight here. And I can't wait to break this one down with you guys because both of these guys are really good and really well-rounded. And there's really a lot of things to like about these guys on both sides. So let's chop it up. Let's get this one going, you guys. Let's see what's going on in the chat here. We got my guy Chris Colanzis in the room saying, Uncle Weezy, let's go, Chris. And then we got my guy Chris for the Love MMA saying, Unc, about to find time to watch tape for this weekend only in honor of my father figure who just said goodbye. Time to make a few bucks and party in his honor this weekend. Good luck, everyone. Chris, I know that you were mentioning that a couple weeks ago that I think he was in hospice and you were preparing to say goodbye to him. You got my heartfelt sympathies on your loss, my brother. I know that this guy made a big difference in your life, and it's always hard to say goodbye to people that did, things for us that other people won't do. So my heartfelt, condolences for your loss, brother. You need anything, dude, you know where to find me. Let's make some money this weekend, man, and let's do some things that'll make him proud this weekend, like make some money on some fights, Chris. Thanks for hanging out, brother. I appreciate it, man. Jeffrey Korengold saying, I got to remember YouTube is still open in the background on my phone or this oi is about to scare the fuck out of me. I love it, man. We got the general in the room. What's up, dude? Good to see you. We got Andretti giving a fist to Chris for the Love MMA. We got Andretti saying round props just came out on Bet365 for the main and co-main. Went small bets on Vieira round 1 plus 750 and Vieira round 1 KO TKO plus 1400 as a hedge. Good luck on those, my man. I have a fight doesn't go to decision bet there. So I would love to see that fight finish inside the distance, man. So I hope you get that, Andretti. Big up yourself, brother. Thanks for hanging out, man. Raw Torque giving the fist to Chris. Everybody give the fist to Chris, man. It's a shame that he lost his father figure, man. That's rough, dude. Andretti saying, best bet for me so far is fight doesn't go in McKinney's IM and Giannis Grant as a double plus 121. Love it. Yeah, man. I know that I'm on that under 2.5 at minus 150 for McKinney's IM. I do see that fight finishing inside the distance due to the fact that Terrence McKinney is a killer be killed fighter. And we got David Allen saying, good to see you, bro. We got Super Look saying, let's get it. We got Tim Troiano saying, oi, sup, Weezy? What's up, Tim? Good to see you, man. Hope all is well, brother. B's putting down a like, 11 p.m. Eastern time, so we'll be rewatching. Let's make some money. Let's make some money, B. I appreciate it, man. You going to make a pick at the end? Yes, I am. I am, definitely. Jesus Hernandez saying, Alex Ramirez sent me here, Uncle Weezy. Jesus, thanks for hanging out with us, man. My guy Alex knows where to point his buddies in the right direction for some good mixed martial arts content. I appreciate you hanging out with us, man. Big up yourself. We got Davey Allen saying, giving the prayer for Chris. We got F. Carrillo saying, let's go, my fave amigo to Trail. Redemption, let's go. Yeah, we got to get that, man. Yeah, and sorry to hear. Rest in peace. Cheers, mate. Philip V saying, what up, fellas? Davey Allen saying, best show in YouTube. I appreciate that, Davey. We got Tim giving the vibes out here to Chris, my man. And we got Silky B saying, yes. We got Jeremiah Nicola saying, we back. We are back. And you know who else is back, man? Smooth Jimmy Apollo. Let's see if he is back. Let's see if he's ready to go. Let's see if he's ready to predict some fights and make some money this week, you guys. And there we go. He is ready to go, man. The place to be. Let's cash. Tim Troiano saying Loopy sub plus 850 on DraftKings, man. And she's got a nice little sub game. Only one win in her career by submission. So that's why it's a little bit wide. But she's going to be wanting to get that fight to the ground. And the only time Loma Lookboonmee has been finished in her pro career, it was by submission. So I don't hate that bet, man. And Beth Carrillo saying, no more Appletinis. Well, the people that were drinking Appletinis on that Rebus bet, man, they enjoyed those Appletinis. It was me who was crying in my beer with my torn up ticket with Virna Jandiroba after she got shaved in the second and the third in that one. So yeah, I got nothing to say to the Appletini drinkers other than you were right and I was wrong. But let's hope that I'm right about this one. So let's bring up some stats, you guys. Got them right here on the screen for you. We're going to start like we always do with the tail of the tape here, you guys. We have got Tucker Lutz being 4 years younger than Pat Sabatini here. Tucker's 27. Pat is 31 years old. They are the same height, and it will be Tucker Lutz having the 2-inch reach advantage. Both of these guys are orthodox fighters. We got Pat Sabatini fighting out of Renzo Gracie, Philly, and we got Tucker Lutz fighting out of Ground Control Academy. Both of these guys fighting out of the United States. I think it'll be Tucker, who's a little bit bigger here. The dude is kind of like built like a barrel. He's got a huge upper body, but it's like a big-ass rib cage, you know? Like, he's got a very strange build, but he's all muscle. He's just kind of short and stocky and wide when you look at Tucker Lutz. And Sabatini's a good size for the weight class as well. But, you know, you got to give Lutz the advantage here in terms of the measurables, being 4 years younger and having that 2-inch reach advantage. Pat Sabatini, you know, training out of that Renzo Gracie Philly camp, while Tucker Lutz out of Ground Control. And what's funny about that, you guys, is that Pat Sabatini has fought somebody from Ground Control Academy already, and that's one Jesse Stern. So they will have a little bit of intelligence on Pat Sabatini here, which is interesting. But yeah, if we go to Tucker Lutz here, and then we go to the Ground Control Academy here, which is where he trains. If we scroll down a little bit on this list, we will see Jesse Relentless Stern, who lost to Pat Sabatini in CFFC, and Pat Sabatini choked him out in the second round. But anyway, just a little bit of a side off there. Let's get into the stats. We've got experience numbers here for you guys at the top left of the screen. We've got Pat Sabatini with 18 professional fights. Tucker Lutz has 13. It's a 15-3 pro record for Pat, a 12-1 pro record for Tucker Lutz. 14 more minutes in the pro cage for Pat Sabatini. Both these guys' average fight time lands between 7 and 9 minutes. And it's Pat Sabatini, who's been about a year and a half more as a pro. Today is the 6-year anniversary of Tucker Lutz's first ever pro appearance. Happy 6-year anniversary, Tucker Lutz. Shout out to you. So we got 3 UFC fights for Tucker Lutz. 2 of them were Contender Series fights, while Pat Sabatini has 2. We see Tucker Lutz, all 3 of those fights have went to decision at the UFC level, and Pat Sabatini has had 1 fight go to decision and 1 fight finish inside the distance here. In terms of how these guys are finishing fights as pros, Tucker Lutz has a 2/3 finish rate. He has finished half of his fights via KO and 1/6 via submission. So we've got that would be 6 by knockout and 2 by submission for Tucker Lutz, and then Pat Sabatini with an 80% finish rate overall. So he's finished 12 of his 15 wins. I think that comes out to, yes, 2 by knockout and 10 by submission. So 10 career wins by submission for Pat Sabatini, and he's finished 1 of his 2 UFC wins by submission. In terms of how these guys are getting finished, we've got 1 career loss for Tucker Lutz. It came by knockout. And Pat Sabatini has 3 career losses. 2 of them came by decision. 1 of them came by a technical knockout, which was he dislocated his elbow in the James the Alley Cat Gonzalez fight. Got caught in a Paul Craig-like armbar. It was very similar to the injury that Jamal Hill suffered against Paul Craig. Dislocated his elbow, but was supposedly back in the gym less than a week later, training. Pat Sabatini's a monster, you guys. Both of these guys are badasses. Tucker Lutz's story is that he's kind of a manual laborer. His dad owns a landscaping business. So the guy's been, he just started really training full-time as a mixed martial artist about a year ago, but the guy's bricked up. He's a big, like I said, like barrel-shaped dude, super wide chest, round ribs. Just he's a unit, man, and so is Sabatini. So this is going to be a very interesting fight. Let's see what we got for striking numbers here, you guys. So we don't have the biggest sample size, but we got to go over it anyway. So we got Tucker Lutz is landing 5.09 significant strikes a minute, and he's absorbing only 3.67. He's got 52% striking accuracy, no knockdowns in 3 fights, and he's shown 45.9% striking defense, and he's never been knocked down. Really nice striking ratio there, you guys. A 1.43 significant strike difference per minute. And, the striking defense, not great at 46%, but, he is, absorbing a lot fewer strikes than he's landing. And he's also throwing a lot more volume than he's landing here at 9.76 strikes per minute thrown for Tucker Lutz. And his opponents are only throwing 6.78. So definitely it's Lutz who should be better on the feet here, you guys. Pat Sabatini has spent most of his UFC career thus far in control time positions, thus the low striking numbers. We got 1.6 significant strikes landed per minute for Sabatini, 1.72 absorbed. We see 50% striking accuracy. He does have a knockdown in his first fight against Tristan Connolly. He kind of caught him coming in, knocked him on his ass, but it wasn't like a clean remove you from your consciousness knockdown. It was really more of a balance thing and a timing thing. But he did land that. And when he got that knockdown, it resulted in about 4 minutes of control time afterwards. And Sabatini does have a little bit of power here. So that's important to remember. But Tucker Lutz is probably going to be the better striker, you guys, here, as he's spent a little bit more of his career as a mixed martial artist working the striking and engaging in the striking in his fights. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of tape on Tucker Lutz pre-UFC. We got a lot of amateur tape on him, and but the pro tape doesn't seem to be there. If we look at the grappling stats for these guys, damn it. No, screwed it up. Let me get that back in the right spot. No. Right. There we go. So grappling stats, you guys, at the top left of the screen here. We're going to see Tucker Lutz is 7 for 11 on his takedowns. 63% takedown percentage. He's averaging 2.33 per 15 minutes, 0.33 sub attempts per 15 minutes. And he's accrued about 30% control time in his 3 UFC fights. While Pat Sabatini, 1 for 6 on his takedown attempts, so only 1/6. He's averaging 0.89 takedowns for 15 minutes, 2.67 submission attempts for 15 minutes. But very impressive here with 59.03% control time over those 2 fights. This guy is doing a great job of controlling his opponents, despite the fact that he's only gotten 1 takedown. This guy has spent, of his 16 minutes, about 9 of them in control time positions. So he, whether he gets a knockdown, whether he gets a takedown, or whether you take him down and then he uses a leg lock to sweep, Pat Sabatini is a guy who's going to try to win rounds in the UFC using that wrestling, using that grappling, using that top control, and he will try to finish fights on the ground with submissions. So to me, you guys, even though Tucker Lutz has more efficient wrestling numbers, even though he's out controlling his opponents, despite the fact that his opponents are attempting more takedowns than he is, I like that efficiency that Lutz has shown thus far against Chase Gibson, against Sherrard Blackledge, and against Kevin Aguilar. So I do think that Tucker Lutz is going to be good in the grappling exchanges, but I think that's where Sabatini's really going to shine. And it looks to me like that's where Sabatini's going to want this fight. When we talk about what we've seen on tape from these guys, I see Tucker Lutz going to the wrestling to kind of seal rounds after he's already kind of dominated in the striking exchanges. Chase Gibson, Blackledge, not particularly great strikers, either one of them, but Aguilar is a good boxer, and Tucker Lutz outdid him in the kickboxing. He outvolumed him for the first 2 rounds, worked leg kicks through to the body, through uppercuts, hooks, straight 1-2s, and just outvolumed him. And he did a great job there. Pat Sabatini, when he's standing, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Michael Chiesa in that he will be just kind of circling around the outside of the cage, trying to draw you in. And if you get too aggressive, he'll shoot a reactive double leg takedown, Will Sabatini, or he will engage in the striking, but he tries to get in and out. He tries to use his movement to frustrate people. The one thing that Pat Sabatini is not going to do in this fight, you guys, is he's not going to stand in front of Tucker Lutz for long periods of time and engage in just a kickboxing match. I haven't seen that yet out of Sabatini. And from what I've seen on tape out of Tucker Lutz, I don't think Tucker Lutz would be the guy to test your striking against. Guy throws a lot of volume. He is accurate. He's kind of unorthodox, but he hits hard. He's not a knockdown, one-hitter quitter type of guy, but the dude throws uppercuts, straights. He comes from a bunch of different angles, and he does throw a lot of leg kicks. So I think that Sabatini is going to use a lot of movement when they are standing, and is just going to be trying to frustrate Lutz, try to get him to stalk him, follow him, use that following to try to shoot that reactive double leg that we've seen Sabatini get against Tristan Connolly, and he shot it a couple of times against Tristan Connolly. So, yeah, this kind of feels to me like a striker versus grappler matchup. I don't think we're going to see the wrestling attack here from Tucker Lutz, because that's where Sabatini's going to want the fight. And whether Sabatini's on top or on the bottom, he's equally dangerous in both places. One thing that a little nugget that I got off of the tape index when I was watching the Mariscal fight for Pat Sabatini, which Pat Sabatini lost via split decision, was the fact that even though Sabatini was training at Renzo Gracie Philly, he also did some time with the Danaher Death Squad, known for their leg locks. And when you watch the old footage on Pat Sabatini, this guy is going for leg locks quite a bit. And he gets them. He got it against Emmers. He was going for them a lot in the Mariscal fight. So, whether Sabatini's on top or he's on the bottom, he can use those leg locks to sweep. He's very dangerous down there on the mat. And I think it would be kind of a dumb idea for Tucker Lutz to initiate the wrestling here, to try to maybe get takedowns with a minute left in the round, to try to seal the round using wrestling. I don't think that would be good, because then Sabatini might start rolling for some of these leg locks and sweeps. He might try to catch you in a guillotine. I don't think Tucker Lutz should be initiating grappling exchanges with Pat Sabatini. I think the way Tucker wins this fight is with the striking, and I think the way Pat Sabatini is going to game plan to win this fight is to use his grappling. So it's a striker versus grappler matchup, in my opinion, you guys. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat here before we get back to the strength of schedule stats. All right, so caught up. Yeah, F. Carrillo right there. All right, so we got Andretti saying Tucker Lutz leveled up from his second contender fight to his debut, where he showed some great fight IQ and a sharp stand-up game. And you know what? His stand-up game looked sharp to me against Gibson and Blackledge as well. He throws a lot of volume. He's straight to the target. He mixes up his attacks. He doesn't throw the same technique over and over again. And both of these guys have really good conditioning from what I've seen. So this is going to be a close fight. But yeah, I've really liked what I've seen out of both of these guys on tape thus far. They win fights, and they fight to their win condition, and they both fight smart. So Andretti, I definitely agree with you there, man. We got Jeffrey Korengold saying, Giannis by decision at plus 265 kind of intrigues me. I got a feeling Giannis is going to knock that dude out, even though he's never been knocked out. That's the thing. That's why if you're on Giannis by decision, I think what the rationale is there is you can say to yourself, Giannis hits like a truck, but Grant has never been knocked out. So maybe that's, if you're saying the trend is your friend and Davy Grant's going to continue not to get knocked out, and he is a tough dude. When people finish Davy Grant, they're submitting him. They're not knocking him out. Then that plus 265 does look pretty intriguing for a guy in Giannis who's almost a minus 300 favorite. So, Jeffrey, I get you there, man. And then B saying the value is Chiesa. Yeah, the value is Chiesa. He's the plus money. He's bigger. He's longer. And he's fought the way better brand of competition. So the value is there, but Sean Brady is an up-and-comer. He's undefeated for a reason, and we're going to really this is the show-me fight for Brady, because Brady's been out-grappling everybody that he's grappled with thus far in the UFC. But that's how Chiesa got to the top, was by out-grappling good grapplers. He submitted Beneil Dariush, so absolutely, this is a show-me spot for Sean Brady, and I can't wait for that fight. My guy Hammer and Hog in the room saying, yo, what's up, dude? Hammer and Hog likes Lutz. Raw Torque saying, I think Lutz will have better ring IQ than Emmers versus Sabatini. Lutz might have more tools in his box. Lutz by volume, I'll take the over. I'll take the over too, Raw Torque. Yeah, I think that's a good spot here. Hammer and Hog saying Emmers was piecing him up on the feet, was in a 50-50 position with Sabatini, showed poor IQ, stayed on the ground, got his knee torn up. And that's absolutely right. I said prior to that fight that because I thought it was such a close fight, I thought I picked Sabatini, and the reason I picked him was I said I think it would come down to fight IQ. I'd liked what I've seen mentally out of Sabatini, and I've seen Emmers just make dumb mistakes and rely on his talent and athletic ability. And that's not enough at this level. You need to fight smart. You need to fight to your win condition. You need to make your opponents uncomfortable. And the way that you do that is by doing what you do best rather than engaging in what your opponent does best. And Jamal Emmers made a huge mistake. He decided to play footsie with a guy who trains leg locks with the Danahers. So night, enjoy your crutches for the next 6 months, and then hopefully you make better decisions in the future, because Jamal Emmers is a great prospect, you guys. I really like him. He's very well-rounded. That's a big win for Pat Sabatini. And Raw Torque saying word. Yep, absolutely. Jeremiah Nicola saying, for some reason, Sabatini doesn't impress me, especially seeing him versus Emmers. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I'm impressed by both of these guys, to be perfectly honest with you. I love Sabatini's toughness. I think he's really well-rounded. His striking is decent, but he doesn't play around in the striking. He uses the striking to set up his grappling, which is smart. And then Tucker Lutz is just smart in the fact that he doesn't leave a lot of holes in his game. He's done great with the offensive wrestling. He's been great with the defensive wrestling. Look at these guys. Tucker Lutz stuffed 11 of 13 takedown attempts, you guys, in 3 fights. So 84.62% takedown defense. So, smart fighters are good defensive fighters. That's usually one of the best, one of the easiest ways to spot a smart fighter is somebody who thinks defense first. Because when you're thinking defense first, it doesn't allow your opponent to be able to put you in spots where you're uncomfortable. And Tucker Lutz showing really good takedown defense thus far. And I think that that's going to be a key to this fight is once, Sabatini isn't getting the best of things on the feet, which is what I think will happen, will he be able to get this fight to the ground using his wrestling? Because if Tucker doesn't oblige Pat Sabatini by engaging in the wrestling himself, and, because I think if Tucker tries to take down Pat will probably let him, because I think he wants the fight down there. So, yeah, I'm impressed with Sabatini. I'm impressed with Lutz. That's why I wanted to talk about this fight with you guys, because I wanted to see what you guys think, too, because there's plenty of reasons to like both of these guys and think that they can win fights. And we got Jarno Portilla in the room saying, hey, Weezy, my first comment on your live streams. I've been watching many times, though. Good stuff as always. Thanks. Big fan from Finland. I'm a big fan of all the Scandinavian people, Jarno. Finland, Sweden. My grandmother was born in Denmark. Can't forget about the people from Iceland. And there's another country, Norway. Of course, the Norwegians, fantastic people. Love all the Scandinavian people. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for checking in from Finland, Jarno. It's awesome to hear people watching these streams from all around the world. It's amazing. That is fucking awesome. Weezy has Finnish fans. And yes, you are absolutely right, Hammering Hog. That is awesome. I can't believe I have fans in Finland. This is getting ridiculous, man. I love it. I absolutely love it. Rock Torque saying, never mind. No sleep till Brooklyn. No sleep until you, Uncle Weezy gets to 1,000 subs. We're going to get there, man. We're going to get there before the end of the year, Raw Torque. And I really appreciate you saying that on the stream, man. It means a lot. It hits different. It hits different seeing next level grapplers in the cage like Sabatini and Ronnie Yaya. That's right, man. And a kind of bet saying, hoping to cash big on Big Nuts Lutz this weekend. And Davey Allen saying, watching from Australia lockdown. I've got a few people who watch here from Australia. I believe Daz Files is either from New Zealand or Australia. A lot of you guys locked down there, man. Best wishes with all of you. I hope that you guys are going to be out and about and enjoying your beautiful country soon. But you know what? Let's get this comment off the screen so we can look back at these stats and look at these. Let's get these strength of schedule numbers up here, you guys. I don't know what's happening. All right, there we go. And, you know, we don't have much to go on here, unfortunately. Both of these guys are kind of newbies, and they've been fighting people who are new to the sport as well, at least in the UFC. But it is Tucker Lutz, according to my metric, who's fought the better competition thus far overall, with a 1.33 ratio for Sabatini's 1 and a little bit more experienced opponents at 2.33 fights as opposed to 2 for Sabatini. The win's just a little bit better for Tucker Lutz as well, and neither one of these guys has ever lost a fight in the UFC. So we see that the last 5 for Tucker Lutz, a knockout win over Cole Presley, a knockout win over Trevor Thompson, a contender series decision win over Chase Gibson, a contender series decision win over Sherrard Blackledge, and then a UFC win over Kevin Aguilar. And then we go to Pat Sabatini. He was the CFFC champ here and was fighting James the Alley Cat Gonzalez, got caught in a tricky little arm lock, lost that fight due to the injury that was sustained via the arm lock. James the Alley Cat on Gonzalez, the last guy to beat Pat Sabatini, and then a highlight reel knockout over Jordan Titoni. If you haven't seen that knockout yet, you got to check it out. A rear naked choke win over Jesse Stern, who, like I mentioned earlier, is also a team member over at Team Ground Control in Baltimore, Maryland, which is where Tucker Lutz trains. So Jesse Stern will be talking to Tucker Lutz and telling him everything he knows, everything that he learned, getting his ass shaved by Pat Sabatini, because that's what happened in that fight, you guys. And then it was the UFC unanimous decision win against Tristan Connolly, and then the heel hook submission over Jamal Emmers. If we look at the advanced stats here, let me find these gentlemen for you. It'll probably be a second before we get down to them because we've got 12 fights here, and this will be somewhere in the middle. But we could take a little bit better look at who these guys have fought and what kind of stats they put up in these fights. And Yaya, Shailan, Soriano, Tucker Lutz. So, yeah, we got control time numbers for all 3 of the fights. So the wins for Tucker Lutz over 0-1 Chase Gibson, over 1-1 Sherrard Blackledge, and over 3-4 Kevin Aguilar. You see that Tucker Lutz has out-controlled his opponents in all 3 fights. So that is one way that Tucker Lutz has been winning minutes in the UFC, is by accruing control time and getting takedowns. I don't know if that'll be an option he wants to explore against Pat Sabatini. That's kind of like where I find this fight being interesting is Tucker Lutz going to trust his grappling enough to be able to be confident enough to shoot for a takedown on Pat Sabatini at the end of rounds, which is something he's been doing recently in order to bank rounds, which is a smart thing to do, especially against less dangerous grapplers in guys like Aguilar, Blackledge, and Gibson than what he's going to be seeing against Pat Sabatini. But look, 185 seconds of control time to 52 here in the Aguilar fight, 471 seconds of control time to 203 here for Blackledge, and 142 to 68 he out-controlled Gibson. And we see he's landing 99, 96, and 34 significant strikes. He threw, it landed over 100 total strikes in the fights where that weren't spent in a majority of control time positions. And we see he was He didn't attempt any takedowns in the Gibson fight, really just trusted his striking. He was 4 for 7 on takedowns in the Blackledge fight, and he was 3 for 4 on takedowns in the Aguilar fight. And we see he advanced position 5 times against Blackledge and 1 submission attempt against Blackledge as well. And we see these guys, he's outlanding his opponents, giving up 81, 37, 47 significant strikes. And Blackledge was the only guy to take him down. He took him down twice out of 9 attempts. And then we see Aguilar and Gibson were both 0 for 2 on their takedown attempts. All right. Yep. So that's what we've got there for Tucker Lutz. And down here we got Sabatini. Sabatini, look at the control time he accrued in the Connolly fight. 598 seconds of control time, and he only allowed 80 seconds of control time. And he actually gave up control time to Jamal Emmers here, 49 seconds of it. Only landed 1 significant strike, but that's all he needed because the leg lock means more than any significant strikes. And he did get a knockdown here in the first fight against Connolly. That's how he got like the first 300 seconds of control time was a result of the knockdown in the first round. And then he got the first takedown he ever shot for in the UFC in the second round against Connolly, a fantastic reactive double leg, and then used that to be on top for the rest of the round as well. So it's going to be obvious that Pat Sabatini's best path to winning this fight is to get takedowns, accrue control time, and fish for submissions from the top or from the bottom here, because he will be the better grappler. And and he does have a Division I wrestling background, does Pat Sabatini. So I think that this will be probably the best wrestler that we've seen Tucker Lutz face in the UFC, because Aguilar is really more of a boxer. Sure, Blackledge is an excellent grappler in his own right, but I don't know if he's got a D1 wrestling background. And then obviously the first fight against Chase Gibson, he's not much of a wrestler either. So, yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how Tucker Lutz's takedown defense holds up against guys like Sabatini, who are probably going to shoot a lot of takedowns here and be very committed to trying to get this fight to the ground. Pat Sabatini has not been knocked down, and he has been taken down, and the only time that it was by Tristan Connolly. So Connolly shot a takedown late in that fight with about a little over a minute left and got that takedown. So he can be taken down. I mean, if Lutz wants to do that, he could potentially, get a takedown or two. I just don't know if it would be a great idea to engage in the grappling exchanges with Pat Sabatini here, because I think that's where he wants this fight, you guys. So let's see what we got up here now. Hammering Hog saying, we out of lockdown now, mate. Oh, that's good. It's good to see that. And Davey Allen saying Southeast MMA, Australia. And Davey's saying, nope, still in. And he's saying SE is sharp. That's fucked. Where are you in Melbourne? And he's saying he is. I'm not betting any of these bouts, says Bout Better. Hey, man, if you don't have a strong lean, I don't have a bet on this fight yet either, man. I'm trying bet 365 from his advice, says Davey. Jeffrey Korengold says, Tony is such a nice dude. Yeah, man, it was just an ugly knockout. He got popped a couple of times, hurt, and then Pat landed a couple of shots. And then when the referee went to go pull Pat off of him because Tony was up against the cage, Tony just kind of dropped. It was nasty, dude. He really got cracked. Pat Sabatini's a mean dude. That guy is coming to finish fights, you guys. So yeah, it's a shame that he is a nice guy, but yeah, he really got caught there. And Bout Better saying, I need to call 1-800-GAMBLING, hustling and all addiction. Hey man, we're all degenerate gamblers here, man. It's all right. At Bout Better isn't betting bouts. The power of the sprinkle. Yeah, you always use the power of the sprinkle, man. And Jarno Portilla saying, hard to watch these live from here because of the different time zones. It's 6:30 a.m. right now in Finland. Crazy. UFC, man. Yeah, dude, that's the thing. A lot of people all over the world. I'm usually going live between like 6 p.m. my time and 10 p.m. my time. So it's definitely something that, a lot of people overseas can't catch live. But I appreciate you, whether you watch live, whether you watch it after it's already done. I just love everybody that takes the time to watch my content. So it's much appreciated. And he's saying, roll, who you got, Weezy? Well, the other day or yesterday, I said that I picked Tucker Lutz. I'm so close to switching that over to Sabatini, you guys. I don't think Sabatini is going to stand in front of Tucker Lutz. I think that's going to be what the big difference here is that I think Tucker Lutz will win the striking exchanges. I just don't think there will be enough of them in this fight in order for Lutz to win enough minutes to win a decision here. I think Pat Sabatini is going to just do everything in his power to get this fight to the ground. And if he doesn't, I kind of see it being a really greasy up against the cage, kind of a clinch war that Lutz might get the better of, but it'll probably be a really greasy split decision. But I think Sabatini is going to find a way to get a takedown or two here. I think he is going to find a way to try to get on Tucker Lutz's back. And I think once this fight gets on the ground, we're going to see Sabatini winning a lot of minutes and potentially finding ways to win the fight. I am so back and forth on this one. I still think Tucker Lutz might have good enough takedown defense and good enough movement to keep this fight long enough standing to win a very close decision. But God, it's so hard to bet against a fighter like Sabatini, who's got such good fight IQ, who fights to his win condition, and who doesn't really, who's always trying to finish fights too. I love that. When he gets the fight to the ground, whether it's the leg locks or whether it's the top pressure and triangle chokes or guillotines, he's always trying to finish the fight. While Tucker Lutz seems a little bit more happy, even though he was finishing all of his fights pretty much on the regional scene prior to coming into the UFC against lower level competition, though. It seems like he's a little more content to win minutes, and that's fine. I love those kind of fighters. I love betting on those kind of fighters. But there's little things here that I like about Sabatini. I love the fact that he fights to his win condition and sells out for the grappling. I love the well-roundedness. I love the way he moves on the feet and refuses to engage people who are better at striking than him in what they do best. I love the toughness. I love the fact that he tries to finish fights. There's a lot of little things that are adding up here to make me think that I need to change my pick to Pat Sabatini winning this fight by decision. But I'm not quite there yet, you guys. I'm not quite there yet. Let's see what else you guys are saying here. I think Lutz might be training late round takedowns. In my opinion, this is smart as to mitigate the opportunity of Pat's submission skills. Plus, late round takedown looks good for the judges. I agree with that. Yeah, but I think even the problem with that raw torque is it's going to have to be 30 seconds or less. In my opinion, that's the only way to do it, because when you take down somebody like Sabatini who will sell out for leg locks, it's a huge risk. It's a huge risk. But if you do it correctly, you can absolutely bank rounds that way. I just think there's better ways to win rounds against somebody like Pat Sabatini. Is Tucker Lutz a good DK play? I think 7,500. Yeah, because if we look at the odds here, Tucker Lutz is just a tiny underdog, and you're getting him at a fairly big underdog price there. So I think there's definitely value on him there. Fight goes to decision. I do like the fight goes to decision here. I think if somebody finishes it, it's Sabatini via submission. But I think Tucker Lutz, with that really good takedown defense and good fight IQ in his own right, should be able to, make it greasy and make it really difficult for Pat to get this fight on the ground. But Pat might just flat out pull guard. So I think the fight doesn't go to decision is the way I would lean, but I'm not touching that bet. And Hammer and Hog saying, Weezy, you're giving me doubts. Yeah, dude, this is a close fight. Both these guys are good at what they do. Look, when Emmers fought Sabatini, I was on Emmers most of the week until the end of the week. I just couldn't take it anymore, and I switched my pick to Sabatini because the fight IQ of Emmers, just stayed in my head. And I said, if he makes a mistake, I think Pat's going to capitalize on it. And as this week goes on, you guys, it's still only Wednesday, but as this week goes on, I'm starting to lean more towards Pat Sabatini. When you go really deep into the stats, it's hard to ignore a lot of the intangibles that he brings to the table. So let's look at these lines, you guys. So we see the fight doesn't go to decision here at plus 120 on Bet Online, and the fight goes at minus 150. So the books are saying about a 61% implied probability that this fight sees the scorecards. Let's see what we got for inside the distance props on both of these guys. Sabatini inside the distance right now on the aggregate is plus 233, and Lutz inside the distance is plus 383. Hold on just a second, guys. All right. Sorry, I had to cough there. I like that the books think that Sabatini's got a better chance to finish this fight. It's one of the points that I just brought up. He works to finish fights. He's got that mean streak in him, whether it's the leg locks, whether it's the guillotines, whether it's a big shot. And he has landed a knockdown in the UFC. He's knocked out to Tony. I think he's got a few more ways to win this fight, while I think Lutz has got a few more tricks to win minutes. But I think that, you can win 14 minutes of a fight and then get caught in the 15th, And I think it's Pat Sabatini who has that power to finish the fight. And the books agree with me there. Yeah, I really do think that I'm going to change my pick here, guys, to Pat Sabatini. And we got, let's see, Raw Torque saying, I think fight goes to decision. Hammering Hog said, giving him doubts. Very good points on Sabatini, too. Cody Eberle saying, hey, Weezy, shave that 70s style beard. I don't think so, man. I think the 70s were a damn good decade. Davey Allen saying, Weezy draw. Dude, sometimes if you know me, Davey, like sometimes that's how I'll cop out when I'm on the Best Bet show on Brady's channel before 1 hour before the prelims start is, I'll say, I have no idea who's going to win this fight, so I'm just betting the draw here. Yeah, these are mutton chops. You're absolutely right. Look at them, man. I think they're fantastic, man. So I'm not shaving it, dude. But, you've got your own opinion, man. That's quite all right. Hammer and Hog saying, how many bitches that stash pulls? We've got Silky B, over or under. I'm not betting the over-under props on this one, Silky B, but I would say over. And Cody Eberle saying, laugh my ass off, lit. Thanks for hanging out, Cody. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I'm switching my pick, you guys. I'm switching my pick to Pat Sabatini. I'm going to say by decision, but I think that it's probably more likely that he wins it inside the distance. I think that Sabatini's win condition is catching that sub. And at Sabatini by submission here at plus 350, that would be interesting. One thing I want to note, though, is that Tucker Lutz has only lost once, and it was by knockout. And I believe it was Tucker Lutz's very first professional fight, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, against Alvin Mercer, 208 of round 3 in Shogun fights. That's the only time he's been knocked out. And Tucker Lutz, look at this amateur career, you guys. 8 amateur fights before becoming a pro. So he's been an amateur since 2012, been a pro since 2015. And this guy is on a 12-fight winning streak. So, if you think Tucker Lutz is going to win this fight, here's how I would play it. Tucker Lutz by decision. If you're on that Lutz side, play him by decision. I don't think you're getting Pat Sabatini out of there unless you separate him from his consciousness or you break something off of him. He didn't even want to quit when he got his arm broken by the alley cat. But Tucker Lutz by decision. Can we get a little bit of extra value there? See, now that's cheeky, you guys. You can get as good as plus 240, but Tucker Lutz on the money line is plus 116. And you see that Sabatini's had 3 career losses, but the only time he's been finished inside the distance is when he had his arm, dislocated, his elbow dislocated. So I think if you're on the Lutz side, the smartest way to play this is to play Lutz by decision. But if you're on that Sabatini side, I would probably just lay the juice here at -130, -140, and just bet the money line, because I think he could win a decision. But if he is able to out wrestle Tucker Lutz here and get a ton of top control, but I also think he can win by submission or ground and pound if he does get this fight to the ground, because I think he's going to be a lot better down there than Tucker Lutz is. So the pick is going to be Pat Sabatini. I'm not going to tell you how he's going to win the fight, but I'm telling you guys, I might even go back to Lutz here by Friday. But we're going to pick Pat Sabatini here, you guys. I'm going to leave you with Jeremiah Nicola's comment here, which is the beard, it's legendary. But you know what? Not as legendary as you guys, the 24 of you guys that are hanging out with me here, you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you for spending your Wednesday night with me, your host, Uncle Weezy, to break down this Tucker Lutz, Pat Sabatini fight. You guys, let's stack a bunch of cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC Vegas 43. Let's make some money. I'm picking Pat Sabatini here, but if you're on that Lutz side, I would encourage you to pick him to win by decision, and you can get him at a little bit better than plus 200, which is a cheeky way to bet this fight. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you, Jeremiah, Tristan, Raw Torque, Davey Allen, Chris for the Love MMA. Condolences on your loss. Chin up, brother. Always remember the good times you had with your father figure. And if you need anything, brother, you just holler at me. I'd be happy to help in any way that I can. Thank you, guys. God bless each and every one of you guys. I'm going to head out and have some dinner. I will see you guys soon, and I will definitely be back on my channel next week for more Just the Tip and Balls Deep breakdowns. But until then, let's cash some tickets on UFC Vegas 43, you guys. Good night.